Good morning. It's day one post shredder. Today, before I pack everything up to get ready, I'm going to make a fireplace out of that gas bottle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the bottom and the top off and make some legs. It's not going to be a huge job. The biggest part is going to be I'm going to cut some air holes in it and make a slide. I've got another big gas cylinder out there. I'm going to cut the top to slide over that because it's the same shape and it'll slide much easier. The only thing I've got to hope is that my mag drill will stick to that, because it's going to be a lot easier to try and drill it with the mag drill than use the hole saw and do it by hand. It's going to be a real pain in the rear end. So I'll get this up on here, I'll get my grinder and shit sorted so I can start cutting this stuff off. Stay tuned. Alright, I've got those off. Whoops, wrong way. I might try and dress that a little bit more with the plasma. Same with the other end, I already cut that off. I'm going to take that, I don't know whether to cut that bung off and just, I think I might just cut that off and weld a cap over the end of it. Then I'm going to get my mag drill. I mean, before I do anything, I'm going to mark it out where I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to cut the top and the bottom, and then what I'm going to do is weld the hinges on the top first and then cut a piece to weld on the bottom, so so obviously the lid doesn't fall all the way in, and work out whereabouts I'm going to cut it. So probably just below centre, cut it not quite to the ends obviously, then over to just past the top. So yeah, I might dress that up a bit later when I'm sort of getting near the end. Yeah. Now I've got to cut something. I mean, I've got plenty of stuff you can use for feet. I'm even thinking about putting a little chimney in it, I'm thinking about it. And I'm going to make something to put a barbecue plate on it as well. So, it doesn't need to be, when I put legs on, it's not going to be real high either. It doesn't need to be too high. Maybe, lift it up off the ground obviously, but I'm not sure how high to lift it up. Anyway, I might actually text Bigstack and find out what he wants. I'll bring it back when I'm ready to. I'm gonna mark this out first, and then I'll come back when I'm ready to cut it. All right, I've got a mark here. It's where the hinges are going. And I've already cut. There you can see it's already deformed a little, but that's fine. I'm going to weld the hinges on. and I'll spin it over and get some flat bar to put on the bottom. But first I've got to clean all the gal off this so I can weld the hinges on. Generally I only just do the bolt holes. Yeah, this should be alright. Just let me mark them, make sure there's no gal. As it is, there's gal on this, so I'm going to have to try and get rid of that. Yep, there's no gal around those holes. I'll do the other one. Let me try something different. Alright, we'll try that. I was going to get Cubitron, but I don't want to waste them. And Cubitron don't like being on the ground on the edge. These ones I've got heaps of and they didn't cost much. So let's see how this one goes. Well, that worked a little bit better, did it not? Alright, now let me sort this and I'll get these hinges welded on. Stay tuned. that'll be fine. All right. Very little spatter. And hang on, let me turn this welder off. Very little spatter, and you know what the difference is? The gas bottle. I changed the gas, I ran out of gas. I'm guessing it's the other gas I had, which is BOC, which should be alright. The one I've got now is from Speedy Gas, which I got through Sydney Tools with my account. So, as you can see, there's bugger all, no spatter, and I haven't changed anything. So, I don't know, whether it could be shitty gas. Someone out there seems to know what they're talking about. Lizard dude, you seem to know what you're talking about with this welding shit. I'm guessing that can do it. And they've got the same flow rate and everything, same pressure. Anyway, who knows. Anyway, I'll spin it round, get ready to do the other bits underneath, and I'll bring you back. Right, I've gone ahead and done some stuff. Got those on, made the handle up. That's got. Don't worry about that. I'm gonna use the Cubitron to get that off. That'll get that off in no time. And I'll use the Cubitron to round that off nicely. So it's the handle. So ow, it's hot because I just swirled it on there, obviously, idiot. I'm going to cut this now and we should have a functioning lid. Just hang about. Alright, see how we go now. Hang on, look. I'll leave the welder on. There's enough noise going around. Tacked on each end. That should be right. Let's see how we go. What I'm going to do now, I've got a big gas bottle that's sitting outside. It's too heavy to bring in here and too awkward. I'm going to go and cut a piece about that wide and drill the holes in the same spot, so you can just slide it backwards and forwards. So I'll make something to sit it in. I don't know what. Just so we can slide it backwards and forwards to, you know, if you want to choke the air. Yeah, then I've got to cut some legs. I don't know what I'm going to make the legs out of first. I've got to find something. I've got plenty of stuff here, but we only want it 300 high, so we'll see how we go. Just give me a sec. I'll go and cut this stuff out here, and when I'm ready to start again, I'll bring you back. Alright, I did it off camera. I got that. I actually had to bring it inside because I needed to tack the plate on it to drill it. But I've cut that out, and you can see the reason why I use that bottle, because it's the same diameter. So that means that curve is going to fit on there like that. So what I've got to do, I'm just going to duck in and have some lunch. I've got to go and get some more cutting discs because I'm out. And I'm going to cut some angle, cut it down so that I can tack it along there to sit over the top of that. Whoops, the wrong way. And then I've got to cut a bit off the end there so I can weld a stop there so that it's closed. And I'll trim a little bit off that end and then weld the stop up there for it open. So the holes don't quite match. I measured them the same, but that thing could have moved around, but it's close. It's pretty bloody close. There's, you know, like a quarter of a hole out. That'll be fine as long as you're able to. It's just so hard doing it with one hand, so you can do that. I'm still trying to work out whether I want to put a chimney on it. I might text Bigstack and see what he thinks. Other than that, all I'm going to do then is just fix that and then put the legs on it. So I'll bring you back when I've got some more supplies and ready to get back into it. Alright, good morning. It's the next day, and I was hard at it yesterday, and to be honest, not that I didn't want to film anything, I just forgot. But I did get to the part where I had this done, and it's finished. So it's got stoppers there, so that's open, that's closed. It's done, and it's got a stopper on the back, so that you've got to be careful because once I let it go, it does that crap. So anyway, it works. I don't think I filmed that. I used the Cubitron to clean the ends up, the Cubitron discs, and I'll tell you what, those things are bloody brilliant. Not sponsored, I wish they would, because they just remove so much stuff so easily, and that's why you can see that mess. That's dust. It's like little shavings. It works so well. What's next is I'm going to, well, all I've got to do is weld legs on it and it's done. In a better world, if I'd have thought about it, I would have put something there to clean the ashes out, but it's not going to take much to shovel them out. So, and I've got a wire brush that I'm going to put on. Oh, I meant to show you yesterday. I put a wire brush to clean all that rust out. This showed up finally. Hang on, let me get it out. And it's a nice heavy one, and it's so I can wear that. But particularly when I'm doing that, keep the dust out of me guts and out of my eyes. And when I'm painting, so it's already got dust on it on the outside of it where it was sitting on the shelf there from where I was stuffing around yesterday. So finally be able to do it a little bit safer. So look, these welds, very little spatter. So I'm wondering whether it was the bloody gas I was using. There's the bottle there. That's what I was using. BBQ Argo Shield. So I don't know. But I can tell you, definitely the welds are better and there's far less, but I haven't cleaned that up. 2 little tiny bits of spatters, and that's, even though I ground the gal off, even there where somewhere I hit it, the gouting, you see it's all white. Even that weld turned out alright. So, I'm going to go and get myself, find some steel, put the legs on. They're only going to be little, only going to be about 300 mil. Oh, and Bigstack wants me to leave that on. He said it'll give it some character, so we'll leave the valve on. The thing it's going to need, when it's ready, it's going to have a couple of good fires put in it, because that's all galvanised, so that'll burn the gal off. So it'll be a little bit stinky for 1 or 2 fires, but it'll be all good. Yeah. So let me get some shit sorted. I'll go and get some steel. I'm going to use for legs, and we'll come back and have a look. Alright, I've got those cut. Found that bit of pipe. Not quite right, but I can take a little bit more off that. Off the bottom before I weld it on. I've marked where I'm going to take the gal off underneath. Yeah, and I just got to line these up properly, obviously. So that one needs to have a little bit taken off that side there, which I will do. And I'll mark where they need to come off. So just hang on a sec. When I'm ready to weld this all back on, I'll bring you back. There we are, finished. Cleaned it up, we used the wire brush, it's too hard to record that. into damper. That's how far open it'll go. And made this because you got a barbecue plate that you can put in there, so that just sits in there and that goes there. So it won't go anywhere either way. So while he's got that going, he can do his big snack segments and cook something nice. So yeah, that's all done. There's the shredder. That gets loaded up tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but tomorrow, and get the mill out somehow. And put this will probably go in the back of the ute. So I only had a thought, and it was a bit late now, but Bigstack said leave that valve on. Actually, the whole thing probably would have worked if I just left the ends on as well instead of cutting them off. But it's too late for that. I can't weld them back on because it takes too much to address them and get them back on. So, I mean, I probably could if I really wanted to, but there's a lot of stuff around. No, I don't want to do it now. I've had enough, and I can hardly move in that garage. It's such a pigsty in there. I'm embarrassed. So, oh, there we go. I'll blank that out. So, there we are, done. And it's about as high as he wants it. So, very good. Anyway, that'll do for today. I've got to go and I've got to edit the videos. I've still got, well, video from the shredder to edit and upload, and this one. So, anyway, I'll see you in the next video. I'll probably do a quick one when I've loaded the trailer up. But until then, as always, stay safe. Peace. Alright, scratch that. Back again. I decided to tack them back on. Cleaned them up, tacked them on, didn't take long, took me about half an hour all up. It took me longer to carry it back inside and then back out again. So they're only tacked, they're not 100% square, but as square as I can get them, because as soon as you cut them off they flex. Particularly that thing is all twisted and flexed. We could straighten it, but for effect it'll do. We figured that'll look. I'm going to leave the tap on there, leave the ends on, eh? Anyway, back to it.